stop your programming on WQED serving the Pittsburgh area. This is a national emergency. Important instructions will follow. The following message has been transmitted by request from the Clairton Police Department, Conrail Board of Directors, and Operation Lifesaver. At around 4:46 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, a styrene tanker is stalled dead on the crossing. At this time, mandatory evacuations are in place of the Pittsburgh and its surrounding areas. Choose any direction, as long as it stays away from Pittsburgh. Tune to 640 FM or 640 AM on your radio dial for later statements on this dangerously developing story. Stay tuned for further updates. Regular programming will resume now. Civil danger warning for the Clairton, Pennsylvania and its surrounding areas. The following message has been transmitted by request from the Conrail Board of Directors, Operation Lifesaver, the NTSB, the Clairton Police Department, and the Elizabeth Fire Rescue. A freight train with a Conrail GP40-2 is heading on a collision course with the styrene tanker. State troopers are trying to communicate with the driver but are proving unsuccessful. An earlier attempt to pull the river over for crossing invasion was also unsuccessful. Evacuate the area immediately. Take a battery radio and tune to 640 FM or 640 AM on your dial for later statements on this dangerously developing story. Stay tuned for further updates. Civil danger continues for the Clairton, Pennsylvania and its surrounding areas. The following message has been transmitted by request from the Clairton Police Department, the Western Pennsylvania Department of Public Safety, and the Pennsylvania State Police. The freight train is 4 minutes away from colliding into the tanker. Final communicational negotiations for the driver have proven beyond unsuccessful. Evacuate immediately. I repeat, evacuate immediately. A fatal collision is imminent. Stay tuned for further updates on your radio dial by tuning into 640 FM or 640 AM for later statements on this dangerously developing story. Shelter-in-place warning. The following message has been transmitted by request from the Clairton Police Department, the Pennsylvania State Police, Operation Lifesaver, the NTSB, the Federal Railroad Administration, and the Federal Emergency Management Agency. At around 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Conrail freight has fully collided with the styrene tanker, killing the driver instantly. It is still unknown if any crew aboard the freight were hurt during the fiery collision. All fire rescue personnel are advised to keep away from the flames as they are reaching 150 feet above sea level and igniting 1,500 feet around the crash site. Caution warnings. Styrene is a non-flashpoint liquid. Non-flashpoint means a single fraction of a spark can ignite the vapors and liquid of the contents on fire. All fire rescue personnel are advised to extinguish their gear after heavy exposure to the flames and smoke. Additional cautions, including power lines, are also advised. Please do not get entangled with the wires, as you are exposing yourself to anaphylactic shock which will prove fatal due to the extremely high voltage. Anyone evacuated earlier, you are advised to remain in your shelters until all clears are given. The casualties and fatalities on board the freight are still unknown. Please stay tuned for further updates and statements from NTSB officials. Tune to 640 FM or 640 AM on your radio dial for later statements on this dangerously developing story. Stay tuned for further updates on your radio dial as the story develops. Telephone outage warning. The following message has been transmitted by request from the Elizabeth Emergency Center. At around 5:55 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, telephone outages to the 911 centers were critically damaged from fire damage from the styrene tanker explosion earlier. All 911 lines have been disconnected or out of service until further notice. If you are in a true emergency, get to a payphone and dial 0 for your operator or pound 77 for state police. Listen carefully to instructions by operators and troopers on evacuation procedures. Tune to 640 FM or 640 AM on your radio dial for later statements. Stay tuned for further updates on your radio dial as the story develops. NTSB has begun an internal investigation at this time. The NTSB have speculated that alcohol was a culprit to this fiery crash. So far, 4 empty beer cans have been confiscated and turned over to state troopers and private investigators. The Conrail locomotive involved, 3,329. A GP40-2 suffered minor damages from the explosion. It has been confirmed that all 3 crewmen survived but with severe injuries and third-degree burns from the flames engulfing the crash. The power lines are almost back to being fully repaired. Anyone evacuated, please remain in your shelters until all clears are given. Stay tuned for further updates on your FM or AM radio as the story develops. Mandatory evacuations are now terminated. The cause of the wreck was confirmed as the driver was tested positive for 6 times the legal limit for alcohol. All power lines are fully operational. All clears have been given to anyone in the shelter. Thank you for your incredibly amazing cooperation during this critically strategic emergency. We will return back to WQED for regularly scheduled programming.